Hello, this is Mr. Painter with another fabulous Quizzette tutorial. Today we're working on Quizzette 825, multi-step equations with distributive property. All right, first step, if you would, please put your name on your paper because putting your name on your paper is the first step towards getting you credit because without your name, Casper will get credit. Well, so my name is Mr. Painter, but please feel free to put your name and not my name because putting my name will not get credit on this assignment. And go ahead and put today's date as well as your team and color. And I'll give you about 10 seconds to go ahead and finish that up. And we'll move on to the next step. All right, looks like we're ready to go. All right. Today we're going to start with Tuesday. Directions. Simplify by applying the distributive property. All right. So you got 3 over 2 into 2x plus 6. All right. So what's going to happen is we're going to take something called the numerator, which is the 3, and we're going to multiply into the inside of the parentheses. So we're going to take 3 multiplied times 2x, and we're also going to take 3 and multiply times 6. Watch how this plays out. So we got 3 times 2x is going to be 6x, and 3 times 6 is going to be positive 18. But keep in mind, though, that the 2 here has not gone away yet. So we're still going to divide by 2 and divide by 2. And be sure to give yourself a little bit of space so that way you can put the fraction still in there. So one more time, we're just multiplying the numerator times the 2. So we got a 6. Don't forget the x. And 3 times 6 is 18. But divide by 2 is left. All right, our next step, what we're going to do is we're going to take our 6 over 2 and 18 over 2 and divide just according to that. We're going to divide by 2. So 6 divide 2 is going to leave us with 3. However, because we have 3, don't forget the x, we're going to have 3x plus 18 divide 2 is 9. Now, keep in mind we're doing something called simplify. Simplify means we're not solving for x. And because we're not solving for x and we cannot go any further, 3x plus 9 will be our final step and we are done here. So one more time, when we simplify, we're not solving for x. We're just making it as simple as possible. We have an x term and a non-x term. We can't get much simpler than that. And if you're unhappy with my 9, there you go. Beautiful. There's my 9 right there. All right, getting into number 2. Number 2, we're going to go ahead and read the directions. We're going to simplify by distributive property and combining like terms, then solve. Oh boy, how many solutions? All right, here we go. First step, just like we did on number 1, is we're going to take our 2 and distribute the 2 inward into the parentheses. So we got 2 times 2, which is 4x, and 2 times x is just going to be plus 2x. So whenever we multiply a number times a variable, and remember a variable is the letter of the alphabet, that represents a number we don't know quite just yet. Plus 2 comes down, equals 3x minus 7. All right, next step, we're going to take our 4x plus 2x and combine like terms. So 4x here added to 2x here is going to give us a total of 6x. Now I'm going to take this one step at a time because one step at a time is going to make it more accurate in the long run. Because if we start doing too much at one time, it gets confusing. So plus 2 comes down, equals 3x comes down, minus 7. All right, now this looks like something we did last week. We got something called a variable on both sides. We got a 6x on one side, and we also have a 3x from the other side. Now try to think to yourself from last week, well, do you remember what the rule is when we have an x on both sides? Or in this case, any variable from both sides? That's right. You're going to subtract the smaller of the x's from both sides. Now notice the 3x is smaller than the 6x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 3x from the right side. However, if I subtract 3x from the right side, I'm also going to subtract 3x from the left side. All right. If you take a look at 6x minus 3x, I'm going to go ahead and get 3x here. Plus 2, no touchy the 2, comes straight down, equals 3x minus 3x does cancel out, which is nice. And negative 7, no touchy, that just comes down, and there we go. All right, now we're at my favorite point. We're at something called a two-step equation, which means we got to get rid of the 2 next, then divide by 3. In order to get rid of the 2, we're going to go ahead and subtract a 2 from both sides because remember, the goal is to get x by itself, so minus 2. But wait a minute, if I might subtract 2 from the left side, well, I think I need to subtract 2 from the right side. So therefore, 3x comes down. 2's are inverses, and the word inverses means opposite, which means eliminate. That was the whole point of subtracting the 2 in the first place. And be careful on this one here. We got a negative 7 minus 2. Now think to yourself, do you remember what is 7 that's negative minus 2? All right. If you're thinking it was negative 9, you got it right because, again, I call that a shopping question. So if we lost $7 or spent $7 at one store and we spent $2 at another store, well, we spent $9 altogether. So we add like terms. So we're going to add those together. All right, last step. We do have a 3 times an x. And whenever we have something called a 3, which is called the coefficient is going to be a number directly in front of a variable. The variable represents a letter of the alphabet that represents a number we just don't know yet. So we're going to go ahead and divide by 3 to get that variable by itself. So divide by 3. So 3 divided 3 cancels out. X comes down. And x is going to give us negative 3 divide positive 3 is actually going to give us a negative 3. Now, we have x equals negative 3. So don't forget our question here, how many solutions? So when we're looking for how many solutions, we're looking for this right here. Since x is equal, and I just want to say you're doing such an amazing job of writing this down because you writing this down is going to help you tomorrow on Wednesday's section. Since x is equal to only, and I'm going to say only with 2 lines underneath it because x is only equal to only negative 3, comma, we have one solution. And more on that coming up as we go. So if x is equal to negative 3, or x is equal to anything in that matter, then we got one solution. Let's do 2 examples. Let's say we have 5 equals negative 3. Let's say you come up with that. I'm going to draw a little arrow. If you get a number not equal to another number, we're going to have something called no solutions. And we're just writing this as notes for, again, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Actually, today is Tuesday, so we're going to go to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So no solutions. And the other one is, well, what if you get a number equal the same number? What if 5 does equal 5? Then we're going to have something called infinite solutions. Infinite solutions. So those are the 3 scenarios you need to know. So again, if you have a variable equals a number, that's going to be one solution, and which this problem is one solution. But in the event, as we move on to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, if you have a number equal to another number that is not the same, that's going to be no solutions. And last but not least, if you have the same number equals the same number, it's going to be infinite solutions. You're probably good in Excel or some classwork involving this week as well. All right, number 3, we're going to go ahead and simplify and solve how many solutions. All right. First step, let's go ahead and take the numerator and multiply into the parentheses, which is called the distributive property. As we do the left side, we can also take the right side and do that as well. Let's go ahead and put the negative with the numerator up here. So we're going to say -1 over +2. You have to determine where that negative goes. It doesn't matter, but pick one, but not both. That's going to be important. All right. So we're going to take our -1, multiply into 2p as well as into. Just keep it on the download. This is actually my favorite problem because it has p for painter. Just want to make sure. All right. Here we go. We got 2 times 4. 2 times 4. I had to think for a minute. It's 8. Notice I'm writing the 8 kind of high because I'm going to need to do my fraction on the bottom. So I got 8p minus 2 times -8 is going to be -16 over 4 over 4, because that 4 will also be distributed as a negative, or not as a negative, but as a fraction as well. And we're going to do that next step. So again, take the numerator, multiply in. That's what we're doing. Equals. Now watch it. Negative goes with the 1. So a -1 times a 2 is going to be -2p. And -1 times a 2 is -2 over 2's. Now, where did that 2 come from? It came from the denominator here. All right, now we're going to take our fractions and go ahead and simplify on the next step to make this a lot less fraction-ish. So here we go. We got 8 minus 8 divide 4. What is 8 divide 4? Oh, is 2p minus 16 divide 4 is 4. Look how much nicer it is. Way nicer. Equals, let's see how the other side cleans up. We got a -2 divided a +2 is going to give us -1p minus -2 divide 2 is going to give us -1. All right, after that, notice that we have 2 painters on one side and a -1 painter on the other side. Now, what we got to do is we got to get p on one side. So we're going to look for the smaller amount. We have a comparison of 2 versus -1. And because -1 is the smaller amount, what I want to do is I want to do the opposite, to add 1p to both sides. Now, when I added 1p to both sides, notice I'm going to add 1p to the p's only. So 1p gets added to the 2p's. Note that the -4 and the -1 at the end, we're not messing around with. We're just going to leave it alone. And the reason for that is those are called constants and they don't have variables. So I call it no touchy. We're going to leave it alone. So here we go. We got 2p plus 1p is 3p. Subtract 4, that's the part we left alone, equals, now we got a -1 plus 1p, which are called inverses. And when they're inverses, they cancel out, which was the goal and purpose of doing that, -1. All right, this is really nice because now I got 3p minus 4 equals -1. So now we're back to what we call a two-step equation. We got 2 more steps left. Oh boy, oh boy. All right. We need to add 4 to both sides because we're going to isolate p. We'll divide by 3 at the end. So add and subtract first before multiplying and dividing. But if I add 4 to the left side, I also need to add 4 to the right side. All right. So I have 3p. We left it alone. 4's cancel out, equals -1 plus 4. Well, what if I go the other way? What's 4 minus 1? 3. Much easier. All right, so I got 3 times p equals 3, which is nice because if I divide both sides by 3, I got the one, the only one for painter. And because a variable equals one number, this is going to be something called one solution. So don't forget to put that down. One solution. And we're also going to circle that because why are we doing that? Because it says right here, how many solutions. So don't forget to put that part in there. So again, when a variable equals a number, just like it did for number 2, it's one solution. Just in case, in the event that it happens, if you have a number not equal to another number, that will be no solutions. Or the other case where both sides are equal to, that's going to be infinite solutions. And that's not including the check. All right, number 4. Last one. Simplify and solve. How many solutions? We have 3 divide 2 multiply into 2x plus 6 equals 3x plus 9. Here we go. We're going to take our 3. We're going to multiply into the parentheses. All right, here we go. We got 3 times 2 is going to be 6x. Give yourself a space so that way you can go ahead and carry down your fraction. 3 times 6 is going to be plus 18. And don't forget divide 2. That's going to be our next step. So divide 2, leave that alone. Equals 3x plus 9. Looks good to me. There's no distributive property there, so I'll deal with that later. All right, next step, what we need to do is we need to figure out, well, we got divide by 2. So let's go ahead and divide by 2. We have 6x divide 2 is going to be equal to 3x plus 18 divide 2. You got it. 9 equals 3x plus 9. All right, go ahead and take a look at the right side and the left side. Or if you'd rather take a look at the left side compared to the right side, take a look at it. What do you notice in this case? All right, did you notice that the left side is equal to the right side and they're the exact same thing? So if we're asking for how many solutions, what do we say on question number 2 when the left side is exactly the same as the right side? That's right, you got it. It's going to be infinite solutions because they're both the same. So right here, I can automatically stop because, again, the left side equals the right side. It doesn't matter if I go forward because it's just going to stay equal the same. So since the left side, let you catch up here. Since the left side is equal to the right side, we have infinite solutions. So what that means is if I plug in, I'll even put the little happy face there. That means if I plug in any number for x, it will always work. How nice is that? That's so cool. Like, both sides will always be equal to, no matter what number I plug in. And even cooler, we are now done with the Quizzette. This is awesome. And also, this particular Quizzette was recorded through a exceptional heat wave. Yeah, it is 95 in this garage today. I'm sweating. All right. With that being said, thank you. Have an amazing day. And take care.